Do this second is if you are not moved up, please watch this video. But Dion let like the link to the video will be the description below. Go in second match. So let's do this second 3, 2, 1.
Growing up, one of my biggest insecurities was my finances. I never had
Yeah.
money, and my parents didn't make a lot of money. And it all
Yeah.
started back when I was probably in elementary school when I first realized that.
Yeah.
And the reason I realized is because I wanted to go out to eat for some occasion. I can't remember what it was. And when I went to ask my parents, they said we can't do it. And I was wondering, like, why can't we go out to eat? It's just like a normal thing. And they basically told me it was because of money. Now, I never wanted to know things like that, especially at that age. I don't
Yeah.
think any kid should.
Yeah.
But I definitely think it helped me grow as a person because as soon as I realized that my family didn't have money, I almost had a chip on my shoulder that I feel like I had to be the one to earn it. So let's fast forward to high school. I'm here in I think it was sophomore year of high school. I can't remember. I barely had just gotten into social media, hadn't made any money from it. I had a job at Chipotle that I ended up making a few $1,000s from, which was actually stolen from me. So the first money I ever made was basically stolen from me straight out of my bank account.
Oh, really?
I'm not going to get into depth about that. That's an entirely different story for a different video, but that actually almost gave me hope because I realized that after getting thousands of dollars stolen from me, I actually wasn't that affected by it, even though I was living poor and a house that I really didn't like. At that point that money was stolen from me, I developed the mindset that money itself isn't what matters. It's the ability to gain money. So how much money can you gain? That's why going to school is smart for some people or just learning skills in general. Now, the reason I bring this up isn't because I want you to feel sorry for me. I genuinely feel like I'm very lucky that I grew up that way because I realized very early on the things that I like and cared about and the things that I didn't. One of the things that I don't really care about much is going out to eat or getting special things or getting fancy cars or anything like that. Like, I genuinely don't find happiness in that. But the one thing that I truly did care about was my living space. So the house I grew up in, there was a lot of people in there, and it was very small. And not only was it small, but it was messy, dirty. It didn't look good from the outside or inside, and I genuinely hated it. And if any of you guys remember or watched me on TikTok, you would see me in this sort of like box-looking room. I basically lived in a room that looked like a sauna. It was probably 10 foot by 10 foot, so it was genuinely like a little cell. Now, that might sound a little bit dramatic, but once again, I didn't care as much about that as I did about the fact that the house was like literally like not clean. Like, it did not feel like it was a place to live. It felt like it was a place to like stay for the night and like hopefully leave the next day. Like, you guys ever stay at a motel or something? That's genuinely how it felt. I've never mentioned this before, but I specifically remember times where there were like literal like bugs crawling on the floor and stuff. It was awful. And specifically one moment that changed everything for me was when I came home from school one day and I noticed that all the lights in the house were off, and I thought that was very weird. I was like, why is it completely dark in here? I go to open the fridge, and it smells disgusting. I'm like, okay, the fridge isn't working. All the food, everything in the fridge went bad, and I'm like, okay, the power went out. Was there a storm? Was there something I missed when I was at school? No, the thing is that we couldn't pay the bill. Now, because we couldn't pay the bill, this was like a massive pivotal point in my life, and I actually documented it. I recorded myself talking about this. I basically said, I'm 17. This sucks. I'm going to get out of this situation. I'm going to make a video when I make it out. And I literally have that video in my phone. Like, I can find it and show you guys at some point. But from that point on, I realized I needed to get out of there. So now this is the part of the story where things start to go south a lot worse than they were. And it's because the issues were not only at this point with the house. I had issues with my parents that I can't even talk about on social media. And we eventually had a falling out where I can't even speak to them because something happened to me that I pretty much it's very hard for me to forgive them. I would say that I have, but I still don't speak to them because I consider it dangerous to speak to them at this point.
Wow, man.
And I knew that I had to leave. So I go to LA on this trip with some content creators, and I'm talking to them. Everything's fine. And then I get a call from my brother, and he's like, yo, our parents did this, this, and that. And I was like, oh my gosh, we need to get out of there now. So I call up my brother the next day, and I'm like, Evan, we're leaving as soon as we possibly can. Like, we need to get out of there. This is like, I don't feel safe being here. That's kind of what I was thinking. So I end up calling him, and we go, and as soon as I get back, we start looking at these like apartments or townhouses or whatever, and we find this townhouse that looks amazing. Mind you, at this point, my brother's making little, like very, very little money. He's working like a fast food job. He's a little bit older than me, and I was making decent money from social media. So I basically tell him, like, we need to go. It's me and you. I genuinely believe that your brother is going to be one of the few people in your life who you can usually always trust. Now, just because someone's family doesn't mean you can
Yeah.
trust them, and I learned that firsthand. But my brother is somebody who has never done me wrong. I've never done him wrong, so we trusted each other, and we basically took a leap of faith of like, okay, maybe we won't be able to afford this. Maybe I'll lose my business or whatever. Whatever's gonna happen. And when I left, I actually did lose my first ever business that I made. That was making good money. I lost it. So now I'm at the point where I'm making very little income, and he's also
Oh.
making very little income because he was working for me for that business as well as doing this like fast food job stuff. So now we're
Yeah.
completely screwed. We're in a situation where we're having to pay rent and stuff, but we're not making money. Like we're just cooked, right? And then me and my brother decide, okay, I think we can do this. We can make it work as long as we put our heads together. So me and my brother, when we move into this new townhouse, decide to make
Yeah.
this business Simpletics. And when I made this business, I had no idea that it would completely change my life. So when I made it, we have now become one of the fastest growing brands on Amazon and TikTok Shop in our niche of products, which is salt spray. You can actually
Wow,
find it. I'll
amazing.
link it below, whatever. But we make this business, and it starts making good money. Now, it's not making good money like just because. It's literally because we just happen to make an amazing product that sells very well. And I'm like genuinely so blessed to have had that. So now I'm at a point where we're sitting there and I'm like, okay, I need to take this opportunity to the next level. And my way of doing that was by going here to Miami. So
Yeah.
I'm there at this new townhouse for like 3 months. And then I'm like, all right, guys, it's time. So we get here and I'm like, okay, I need to make this move. So I find this apartment. It was one of the first apartments I look at. And I'm like, all right, we're getting it.
Yeah.
So my brother's back in Virginia helping me run the business, but I'm here spending a lot of money on an apartment looking for opportunities. And honestly, it's going very well for me. I'm going to be completely honest. I genuinely have never been in more of a blessed position in my entire life, especially coming from a place of nearly being homeless and the fear of that.
Yeah.
So, with all that being said, I'm now here in Miami looking for opportunity. Everything's
Miami.
going well. The business is going well. And I have you guys to thank. Now, I want to show you the apartment because this story, honestly, I would say the conclusion comes down to this. You have to believe in yourself and you have to find a way to make things work. And I believe that you
Yeah.
always can. You can always put your heads together with the people that you trust and make it work. It's just how true it is. I'm not much smarter than you. You're not much smarter than me. We're equal people. I just happened to find something that made it work. So, with all this being said, let me give you a very quick apartment tour because this place is insanely cool. So, first things first, obviously, we have my room. The view is literally crazy right there. And you guys pretty
Wow.
much saw everything there is to see in here. I do have a closet full of stuff right there. And then the bathroom is also pretty nice. Like, it's actually insanely nice. And this is the
Wow.
shower, bathtub, all that. What's even crazier, though, is when you go out here to the balcony, look at this view. Literally insane.
Wow.
You look
Really
over the
insane.
edge here, and this is one of my apartment's pools. It looks really cool. But yeah, look
Uh,
at this. Actually crazy. So when you
really
walk in, this is
pretty.
the area
Yeah.
you're gonna see. This is my roommate's setup that he's gonna have. This is his bathroom over here, his room. There he is right there, my boy. All right, and then this is like the little like workstation we have makeshift right now until I get my PC set up. And we got a massive TV here, but there's a ton of amenities in this place. And overall, I think it's just gonna be really good for what I do and work in general. My roommate and I are both 19. I'm pretty sure we're some of the youngest people in this building, and I really hope this is at least somewhat inspiring to just take the risk and do what you love, or
Yeah.
hopefully get yourself out of a bad situation.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. Yeah. That was, if we not move up, we watch this video, but do you want the link to the video will be the description below. Go in second month and drop a like if you like, and comment down below if you want to see more reaction like this one, and subscribe if you're new, and click the bell so you can be notified when I upload. Bye. Wow.